Almost instantly after the sinking of the Titanic, rumours of ghosts and a curse, which some believe were predicted in the 1898 novel The Wreck of the Titan, began to circulate. But are the spirits of the ill-fated steamship still stuck underwater, unknowing that the voyage they set sail on ended 111 years ago? I'm Bleaky, and today we take a look at the ghosts of the Titanic and the spirits that are still connected to the wreck. From strange sightings on the North Atlantic Ocean to the haunted items that were disturbed and brought up from the watery grave that now marks so much tragedy. The story of the Titanic is one that most people are familiar with. On April 15th, 1912, the White Star Line's greatest achievement set sail on its maiden voyage to America, with 2,240 passengers on board. Just 2 days later, however, a series of unfortunate events meant that the luxurious steamliner would sideswipe an iceberg and eventually sink the ship that was described as unsinkable. Due to the lack of lifeboats and the faith some passengers had in the ship's construction, 1,500 poor souls would lose their lives in the icy water. With so much sudden death and those unable to have a proper burial, there are those who believe that many of the spirits have never found peace. Ships that have passed the site where the Titanic was dragged down into the ocean have reported seeing strange glowing orbs on the surface of the water. It has even been claimed that submarines have picked up on interferences on their radio with what sounds like faint SOS messages. While there are no credible sources for these claims, it's worth mentioning that the Titanic was among the first vessels ever to use the SOS Morse code signal, which also was interchanged with CQD, come quick, danger. In 1977, Second Officer Leonard Bishop of the SS Winterhaven gave one of his passengers a tour of his ship after he was approached on deck. Bishop described the older looking man as soft-spoken with a British accent. While the man was polite, he did strike Bishop as a little odd, especially as he was unusually interested in every corner of the ship. I guess the guy just really liked boats. Years later, however, Bishop was shown an old picture while talking about different ships with a friend. Upon seeing it, he drew the picture closer. "I know this man. I gave him a tour of my boat back in '77. His friend burst into a laugh and replied, "That's impossible. That man is the captain of the Titanic." While Bishop smiled and handed the picture back, he was certain that the bearded gentleman with the same stern expression was the passenger who was admiring his ship. This isn't the only story that involves Captain Smith, however. In 2002, Neil and Louise Bonner from Stoke-on-Trent, UK, purchased a 2-bedroom Victorian house that Captain Smith was born in and where he lived right up until he started his naval career. They have been renting out the house for almost a decade now and claim they have witnessed a number of ghostly sightings. According to Neil, one of his tenants called the couple out one night after seeing a man dressed in a fine black naval uniform with medals pinned on it, gliding across the bedroom floor and vanishing through a closed door. Other tenants have claimed that they have felt icy cold spots throughout the house and heard mysterious banging. Regardless, the hauntings have never forced the tenants to move out, as they don't feel the entity is evil. While Captain Edward Smith may have found his way back home, he needs to be careful. The Bonners might start charging him rent. Another strange string of hauntings is connected to the Titanic artifact exhibit in the Luxor Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. Many employees and visitors have reported feeling, hearing and even seeing paranormal activity while inside the exhibit. Now, you may think, how can the spirits of the Titanic be haunting a random hotel in Vegas? Well, it's certainly not to catch the Cirque du Soleil. Many believe that the 300 items that were salvaged from the wreck after its discovery in 1985 have the spirits of their former owners attached to them. Haunted items are a common theme in the paranormal community, with things like the Annabelle doll, the Hope Diamond and the Dybbuk box being among the most active. Some visitors to the exhibit have heard footsteps walking behind them while no one was there, while others have told staff that they saw full-bodied apparitions that faded into nothing. One strange event involved a picture of Bruce Ismay, the chairman and managing director of the White Star Line, who was on the ship when it sank, but managed to survive. One morning when staff were opening the exhibit, they noticed the picture leaning against the wall. The manager checked the CCTV footage to see who moved the picture and was stunned to see the frame vibrating on its own before gently being placed on the ground by unseen hands. Now it's worth noting that Bruce Ismay got a lot of criticism for taking a seat in a lifeboat when hundreds of women and children didn't survive. Less than a year after the sinking, he moved to a cottage in Ireland called Costello Lodge and became a recluse. His family claimed that he carried the shame of his involvement in the White Star Line and not offering his space up in the lifeboat for the rest of his life. He even banned the subject of the Titanic being brought up in the house. Did the spirit of Bruce Ismay take the picture down to show he no longer wanted to be connected to the ill-fated vessel? Or was it an angry spirit connected to one of the items that begrudged a man for allowing them, or any of the young lives lost, a second chance at life? Another spirit that is said to haunt the grand staircase section of the exhibit is the Lady in Black, who has been seen wandering with a confused look on her face. It has also been reported that she has been heard calling out for her friend, Margaret Brown, who was nicknamed the unsinkable Mrs. Brown, as she helped rescue other passengers from the ship and even grabbed an oar, urging the crew to go back and look for more survivors. The Titanic lookout, Frederick Fleet, who famously first spotted the oncoming iceberg, has also been seen watching over the exhibit's promenade deck, as he had done the days leading up to the tragic disaster. Another haunted item that is believed to be the tether of a Titanic spirit is a mirror belonging to Captain Smith, which was left on his dressing table in his home in Stoke-on-Trent and never used again by the captain. The story behind it says that a servant girl working at the house called Ethelwyn was offered to take one item from the house in lieu of wages the captain still owed her after his death. She chose the mirror, but on the first anniversary of the sinking, she went to check her appearance and was frozen to the bone to see Captain Edward Smith staring back at her. After that, the mirror was passed down to Ethelwyn's relatives and was eventually given to David Smith, who kept the mirror locked away in a vault out of fear of the paranormal activity surrounding it. One of the biggest questions asked over the years is if the Titanic disaster could have been prevented. Of course, hindsight is a fantastic thing. In 1898, a novel was published called The Wreck of the Titan, or Futility, depending on the publication. This early book reflects the events of the Titanic and is even believed by some to be a premonition from its author, Morgan Robertson. Apart from the glaring similarities of the name of the ships, the Titan and the Titanic, the book also had other chilling connections. Both the fictional and real ship were wrecked by an iceberg in the North Atlantic Ocean in April. There were not enough lifeboats. The Titan and the Titanic were almost identical in size, speed and life-saving equipment. Both ships had a system of watertight compartments, 3 propellers, 2 masts, and both were carrying over 2,000 passengers. The most poignant similarities between the two ships was that they were both described as unsinkable. So, are the spirits of the Titanic still at unrest, stuck in a moment they didn't see coming? Was the legacy of the ship a natural source of imaginative storytelling? While those hoping to start new lives in the new world were cut tragically short, as well as the crew who bravely stayed at their post until the end, the story of the Titanic and those on board will live on for many more generations to come. If you enjoyed this video and would like to watch more supernatural and paranormal content, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. That way you'll never miss one of my future uploads. And until next time, sleep well, friends.